Okay, let's take a peek at the simulation part of this lesson. So you're basically just playing around with dots and lines and seeing what patterns you notice. So what we're going to do is click on add it. We're going to add our own dots. So I'm going to add dots, and as soon as I add dots, it's going to calculate the R value or the correlation coefficient. And I want kind of a weaker pattern in the directions. So it said get a value as close as you can to like 0.4. So I'm getting pretty close here. Add a slightly weaker one. All right, I'm gonna say this is close enough. So what we're gonna do is then show the regression line, the least squares regression line. We're also gonna use some lines to kind of guide us today. So there's the mean of X and the mean of Y lines. So the X axis you can kind of envision is like here. And so this is the average of the X's, and then this is the Y axis, and this is like the average of the Y's. So they're basically marking where the average would be for each one, and then just drawing a line out from each of those spots. So what we want to do then is use those gray lines to kind of guide us as we're adding points. So for question 2A, we're going to add a point to the far right side and pretty close to the horizontal line. So I'm going to put a point there, and then we want to decide what's changing. So the slope is where is kind of the tilt of your line. The y-intercept is where it's crossing the y-axis, so over here. So if I kind of take this point in and out and see what's happening, I notice my line is tilting different, so the slope would be decreasing here. And as a result of tilting, this part of my line is also going up, like it's tilting upward now. So my y-intercept would increase. In terms of my correlation coefficient or R value, we can see that went down. This is changing the pattern and doesn't really fit very well. So take that out. So that's part A. Part B, we're going to add something to the far left on the horizontal line. So I add it over there, and I'll just add it in and out a few times. You can do that by clicking, and you can see again the slope is decreasing. The line was doing this, and now it's like doing this. So the slope's going down or starting to decrease. Same thing with the y-intercept. Kind of the back end of, the line is coming up. And so that's gonna, like, our y-intercept is also going up then. And then we can see again the correlation number has changed. It's definitely went down when I put this point, have these points and then put that one in. It doesn't really fit the pattern, so it weakens the relationship. For part C, we're going to add a line below the least squares regression line, so below the blue line on the vertical line here. So I'm going to add it there. I'll just take it in and out a few times, see if I notice anything. So it doesn't look like the line is tilting any different, but it is kind of just shifting up and down to kind of try to catch this point since it's so much further from the pattern. So the slope's going to stay the same. It's not tilting any different, but it's just sliding down some to try to catch this. So our y-intercept would decrease, and we can obviously see this point clearly doesn't fit the pattern, so it's going to make the R value decrease or get weaker. For part D, if a point's added above, so we're just going to add up here. What happens? Well, pretty much the same thing. It's just our line is shifting up. So generally our slope stays the same, and our y-intercept goes up because our line's going up, and then our correlation goes down because this again is really far away and doesn't fit the pattern. So those are kind of our values, and now what we want, or those are kind of the things we're doing with these points. Now, which type of outliers, was it, the ones on the sides or the ones up and down, which ones affected things more? And so if we think about it, these ones, the horizontal ones, are tilting the line differently and also causing it to shift some, like also causing the y-intercept to change some. So we have two changes happening here, y-intercept and slope, and then a third change with the correlation coefficient changing. So these types of outliers tend to affect things a bit more when we're looking at data and where the outliers are falling.